in that state, he's won. And you've lost, especially today, predominantly sins of the flesh, these kinds of things. The devil is really encouraging that, pushing that strongly so he can get people to offend God in a grave way, and hopefully they'll die in that state because they'll get addicted to it, hopefully, or that's what he hopes, and they won't give it up, and therefore they die in that state. He's won, you've lost, and your life has been a total failure at that point. And so that's why this information is so important. That's why finding out the truth about what UFOs really are, who's really behind them, namely the devil, is just to advance that ultimate agenda of damnation for mankind.
Let's go to Richland, Washington. Hello, Andrew. It's your turn.
Hey, good evening, George. Good evening,
Hi.
Father. Hey, what happens if UFOs are real, but it's actually the devil using his ways on you to say they're not real and say they're devilish? What happens if it's just flip-flopped and UFOs are real, but it's the devil trying to trick you?
Okay, so how would he be trying to trick me? I'm saying it is the devil.
Well, I'm saying what happens if the devil's trying to trick you by making you think that the UFOs are demonic when they're not really demonic? They're actually people from other galaxies. Because why would God just make us an us? Why would the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope himself, come out and start saying that there could be life in other places, and then you come and start saying that UFOs are demonic? It kind of doesn't go together with what the Pope is saying.
Well, I would say one thing I wanted to go back on earlier. I mentioned that I didn't know of a specific condemnation. There is actually a specific condemnation by Pope Innocent II, November 14th, 1459. He condemns that, quote, that God created another world than this one, and that in its time many other men and women existed, and that consequently Adam was not the first man. That's been condemned. And so the point is that we've shown from the characteristics of these UFOs that they cannot be a physical or material being or alien races, because they do things that no physical or material beings could do. Namely, immediately disappear in front of people, appear in front of people, penetrate the ground, the water, and break into multiple sections off of one, many going into one, and just all the other speeds that they're traveling, the distances that they would have to travel from these different planets, the amount of energy we'd be talking about, and then to not even get into the question of why haven't we received any intelligent signals? We have the SETI program that's been there for a long time. Not one radio transmission that makes any sense. Why not? Why don't we have probes from these other planets that we've been seeing? They should be all over the place. They should have really taken us over by this time. We don't have any of that.
All right, next up we go to Shelbyville, Indiana, with you, Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, yeah. I had a question for your guest. You had mentioned that these aliens are actually demons. Now, is it possible that the demons all throughout the Bible were actually alien nature, like Stinson had mentioned with the Anunnaki? And is it possible that the reference in the Bible that talks about Lucifer being a mechanical machine is talking about these ships?
On the first part, what's interesting is that, angels can take on many different forms and shapes. And so, therefore, if these UFOs are demons or fallen angels, they would possess many of the same abilities which the faithful and good angels described in the Bible possess. So, and many people who have encountered these aliens have described a reptilian likeness in their appearance, which is extremely interesting because Satan, when he appeared to Eve in the Garden of Eden, he appeared in the form of a snake, a reptile. And a snake might be the first thing that you think about or that comes to mind when you hear the word reptile. And so that's another connection, I think, that what these people are seeing, why they're seeing them appear in a reptilian kind of form, it's because it's from the devil who appeared under the form of a reptile, a snake, originally.
Can we beat this, Michael? can we beat this onslaught of these demons?
Well, yes, I absolutely. It's something where I would tell people, obviously, that the way to beat them is to embrace the real Catholic faith, to stay in a state of grace, to have a true devotion to Mary and to pray the rosary each day, and to receive valid sacraments. If you can. It's a very difficult situation because of what the devil has done in trying to destroy all valid sacraments, and it's a very troubling time to live in. It's a very dangerous times, as Timothy says. In the last days will come dangerous times, and we're living in those dangerous times. And there are all kinds of different deceptions going on, many different levels, many different kinds of deceptions, even false apparitions that are out there of claiming to be the Blessed Virgin appearing, and people say, oh, it's the Blessed Virgin, and there's signs and wonders that are going on at these places, and it's all part of trying to get you to believe a false message and embrace a false faith.
Next up, let us go to you, Dennis, in Santa Rosa, California. Go ahead, Dennis.
Thank you, George. Good morning, Michael. Tonight, my wife and I, we were standing outside during the early part of your broadcast, and amazingly enough, we saw this beautiful blue-white light track across the sky, and it was traveling a little bit faster than, say, a satellite, and it tracked across the sky, got to the end of the Big Dipper, and started to make a little turn, and then it slowly took like a 30-degree angle and just disappeared. And it was just the most amazing thing and the most beautiful thing, and I just don't see how it could be construed as demonic, or it didn't like draw me in or make me want to, do anything out of the ordinary, but it did spark my interest in what could possibly be out there in the world, and out in space. And it was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's a good observation. We're going to be back in just a moment with final phone calls with our special guest tonight, Brother Michael Dimond. I'll also tell you about what you can expect in tomorrow's program. UFOs, demonic activity, and elaborate hoaxes meant to deceive mankind. We'll give you his toll-free number in a moment. And welcome back to Coast to Coast. We're with Brother Michael Dimond. Final phone calls right around the corner here. Michael, do you go to speaking engagements or anything like that?
I've had a lot of people ask me about that, but mainly it's just doing things from the monastery here, trying to get people the information with the website and sending out the information through the mail. We've sent out a lot of stuff through the mail, over 1 million copies of the books and videos, and that's it's mainly just sending the stuff out through the mail and getting people in contact with the website where they can virtually see all the videos and all the information, and so they don't really even have to purchase anything if they don't want. We're just trying to give people, as many people, the opportunity to see this information, and then they'll have to make a decision from there.
You did some work on Padre Pio. Did your research show that he truly had the stigmata, the wounds?
Yes, for over 50 years he had the visible wounds of Jesus Christ on his hands, feet, and side, and they tried to wrap his wounds and put things on his wounds to heal it, and they would never heal, and it was just truly a miraculous thing that God wanted to show people, that this person was a holy person who, when people came to Padre Pio, if they went to confession, they didn't have a firm resolution not to commit the grave sin that they were committing. He would, just kick them out of confession, or he could tell immediately, he could pick up that they weren't sincerely trying to do the right thing and giving up their grave sin. That's why a lot of people think that Catholics can just go to confession, just confess it, and just do it over and over and over again. But unless the person at the time they're confessing the grave sin has an absolute resolution never to do it again, their confession's totally invalid. And so, but yeah, he was the most photographed person in the whole world at his time, and has worked thousands of miracles, including healing a woman who has no pupils. and she can see, named Gemma Di Giorgia. And she's from Italy, and she has no pupils, and it's anatomically impossible to see without pupils, and yet she can see. So after being blessed by Padre Pio, and just numerous other conversions that occurred from people. Some people who went to confession, they tried to see if he could tell, that they were coming in and hiding things from him. And you had different Freemasons and communists that would come in to try to mock the sacrament. He could pick it up immediately, and many of them were converted.